Okay guys, welcome back to my channel, Infinity and Beyond. And today I'm very excited to present to you my new series officially called Becoming Better. So this is going to be a small series that I'm going to do like in the next few months. So it's basically going to take on different subjects in our day-to-day life. So the goal is not to have like a guru type of video where I say, yeah, if you watch this video, tomorrow it's going to change your life. It's going to blow your mind. You're going to understand the universe. No, I don't want any of that bullshit. The goal of these set of videos is to have basically like concrete and realistic examples and principles that you can apply in your day-to-day life that will impact it in a small yet meaningful way. That is the goal. So if you expect this to be like some Matrix type of movie where I give you a red pill or a blue pill and I say, yeah, which one do you choose to wake up? It's not going to be here, okay? First video, I'm actually going to talk about something that dictates who we are as human beings, which are habits. And to answer this question, I'm going to reference two main sources. The first one is going to be from James Clear, Atomic Habits, which is an excellent book. And secondly is from a few podcasts from a neuroscientist called Andrew Huberman, which is great. So to start off, it's important to understand what is a habit. So basically a habit, to make it simple, is a behavior that has been repeated so many times that it has become automatic. What's interesting to note is that basically 90% of our decision making throughout the day are from our subconscious mind, which is basically the basal ganglia. So that's a part of the brain that will like take care of habits or whatever you do that may seem like an automatic behavior, which you don't consciously make a decision to. I don't know if you're following me. Like for example, let's say you wake up, a lot of people first thing they do is they go brush their teeth, for example. Or some people what they do is they go to the shower, or all these small little things that you do without necessarily consciously making an effort to think about it. So only a mere 10% of our decision making are from the prefrontal cortex, which takes care of rational decisions, where we weigh pros and cons, where we think of consequences, where we think in the future or in the past. This is where there's more value to it. So the brain's like, oh, okay, this is an important decision. Let me take more time, or let me really think this through. Like, I don't think when you wake up, you sit down on your desk and you're like, oh, wow, let me go. Should I go to the bathroom? Should I not go? No, you just go naturally, because that's what you're programmed to do. Like, for example, I don't know, deciding for your next job, or if you want to think of a new school to go to, or I don't know, if you want to like put milk first or cereal, or if you want to, I don't know, buy like iced tea lemon or iced tea peach. All these like tough decisions involve a higher level of conscious deliberation, basically. Now that we understand how a habit works, let's get into the juicy part. Let's dissect the habit, because the habit isn't just like this. There's a few steps to it. The first part is basically the cue. What that means is that basically our brain notices a certain signal and that activates a trigger. Secondly comes the craving, which is the desire, the wanting. Like your brain is looking to get a certain feeling from the cue. See? So like they're all linked. Okay. So thirdly, we have the response. How your body is going to respond to your craving. Like if you have that need or you have that want, how your body is going to establish a link to it, basically. And lastly, and maybe most importantly, is the reward. How you will get rewarded from that type of behavior. So there's basically a whole pattern to it. First, we have the cue, which is the notice, like your brain notices it, like it's a trigger. Then you have the craving, which is your body wanting what that trigger signals to your brain. And then thirdly, we have the respond, how you respond to it, like if you act a different way, or you, I don't know, do a certain type of behavior. Then lastly, the reward, how you will get rewarded from it. So to better understand this whole habit loop, let's actually do a small example that anyone can relate. So imagine right now, it's Monday morning, 7 a.m., you have to go to work, okay? This can apply to everybody. I don't know if it's work, I don't care if it's school, anything. First thing you hear is that the alarm works. And what that does is it signals your brain, okay, that's the trigger, that's the cue, that's the first part. Then the second part is your craving. So think about it. What do we all crave the second we wake up? To be distracted, to be entertained, to check our messages, our phones. That's the second thing. So first part is the cue, the alarm. The second part is the craving. So what you desire to be distracted. You want to check your messages, you want to check, I don't know, the news, your notifications. Thirdly, the response. How will your body respond? It will then notice from the alarm, then your want, then your response. That means the behavior that you will adopt in consequence to your craving, which is to go on your phone. Then, I don't know, I'll go on Snapchat, I'll scroll down Instagram, I'll see what's up, blah, blah, blah. And the last part, which is the most important part, is the reward. So what this is going to do is that you will receive, each time you scroll down, a hit of dopamine. Because that's, of course, how these social media establish addictions. Basically, the real issue isn't getting that dopamine hit. The real issue is that that dopamine hit is now linked to the cue. So now every time you will hear this alarm sound in the morning, your brain will automatically think, oh, that means dopamine, which then means the phone, which then means Instagram. So this is actually why we see a huge part of the population being hooked up the first thing in the morning, because they will automatically think, okay, I got that alarm sound, boom, I'm on my phone. Because your brain has associated these two signals. But this doesn't just stop here. It goes even deeper, like for addictions, for example. So let's say you're at work, it's Friday, and it's 5 p.m., and you're like done with a whole week of work, right? It's 5 p.m., you just worked for 8 hours, you're very tired, and the only thing you want is to relax. That is the craving. So what you will do is, what most people who are addicted do, is they go outside and instantly they go for a smoke, right? So the cue is, that bell ringing or the boss saying, okay, you're done for the day. The craving is wanting to get relaxed, wanting to get a certain, sense of satisfaction, and your body responding and smoking. Get? And of course the reward would be that little nicotine hit that will temporarily relax you or make you feel better or satisfy your needs. Okay. But this is how basically the basal ganglia acts. It associates cues directly with rewards. So then instantly, whenever you think of, morning, a phone. Whenever you think of, taking a break from school, like that 5-minute break, or whenever you're done with work, you will assign it with smoking. And that's how addictions are created. Very simple. Okay, so now that we understand the fundamentals of what a habit is and how it works, let's get into the real interesting part. How to create a habit that will last and help you every single day. So the first principle is a very famous rule that's actually called the 2-minute rule. The goal here is to make it as easy and sweet as humanly possible. So what you want to do is basically scale down the habit to 95% of what your goal is. So let's say you want to run a 10-kilometer race, right? And prior to this, you have no running experience, you've never run, or you run, but not regularly, and you really want to do this race. So what most people will do is they'll be like, okay, since I gotta run, 10 kilometers, let me practice for, 10, 9, or at least 8, right? But what this rule says is, instead of starting that high, what you want to do is you want to scale it down 95%, which means approximately, 500 meters, if my math is correct. Yeah, I think it's correct. Okay. Pretty good. So what you want to do is you want to scale it down 95%, so 500 meters, and instead of every time going on that run for 10 kilometers, you're only going to run 500 meters. The goal is to make it so simple that you can do it no matter the circumstances. It's to make it so easy that no matter what state you're in, if you're tired, if you're, sick, if you're angry, whatever, you'll do it. Because it's nothing, right? Anybody can read one page, right? You know what I mean? And if one page is too much, make it shorter, make it 2 sentences. The point is that it's so simple that you always can do it. So I'm sure a lot of you right now are like, yeah, but that's so stupid. Why would I train for half a kilometer if my ultimate goal is to run 10 kilometers, right? But what you're forgetting is what's important in this early stage is to actually master the art of showing up, of regularly showing up, being there, doing the habit, putting in the days, putting in the work on a regular basis. To better understand this principle, let me give you a small example of a man who basically weighed 200 pounds. And his goal was to reach 100 pounds. So what he did was, for 1 month, he showed up to the gym only for 10 minutes. For 1 month, he was regular and he was disciplined. And what I did to him was his body then learned, okay, this is now who I have become. This is a part of me. So it became routine for him. It became his habit. He was used to going to the gym. Every time he'd go there, do his 10-minute workout and go back home. And after the month was done, automatically, it was logical for him to go to the gym. So then slowly, he went from 10 minutes to 20 minutes to 30 minutes and etc. Because what he did was he reduced it by such a drastic amount that it meant nothing for him. It was simple. And at the end, after all his workout was done, he managed to lose the 100 pounds, which is pretty good. The real effort isn't doing the chore or doing the exercise or the task. What's really important is these early wins. So this is basically the second principle, which is what I call the 30-second win, which means that what you're going to decide in that, that little window of choice right before a certain task or activity is what's going to determine your next, 1 or 2 hours. I'm sure it's happened to a lot of you. So let's say you're on your desk, right? It's, Tuesday morning. You want to get that work done, right? And just before you go onto your computer, start preparing your presentation or whatever you do, you have that little split second where you can decide, wait, what if I go on my phone right now, or what if I check social media? You know what I mean? So the little decision that you make, the decision that you make in that split second, going on your phone, checking social media, or putting in the work is what's going to determine the next hour. So human beings are insanely lazy. Like, I'm the first one to be lazy, I'm not gonna lie. So once you're on your phone or once you're working, it doesn't really matter what you're doing because you're already there. So your mind's like, okay, what the hell? Let me at least put in the work, or let me at least enjoy myself. So that means that this little decision between you wanting to do a certain task and you actually doing the task, that little 30-second window is super important. That's like the most impactful one. And what you can add to that is actually what is called the law of friction, which basically means that the more friction that there is between you and a certain habit, the less likely you will do it. Because that means that you will need more energy in order to get there. So for example, let's say you really want to work out, right? But the gym is like an hour away. The chances of you actually showing up are significantly lower than if the gym was actually, right next door, right? So my point is, the easier you can have access to a certain habit or a behavior that you want to adopt, the more likely it is to happen. So basically, the less energy required, the more likely it is to happen. So try and reduce, any obstacles that you can find between you and the habit that you want to install to make it happen. Like for example, let's say you want to, again, work out, right? And you have dumbbells in your house, but they're like in your living room or they're in your kitchen for some strange reason or whatever. So instead of leaving them there, put them actually right next to your bed. So then the second you wake up, you see the dumbbells. So like the distance first off between them is significantly lower. And like since they're right there, why not do a few reps, right? And then that goes back to the 30-second rule. That means that once you're there, your brain's gonna be like, okay, then once I'm here, let me get a few workout in, blah, blah, blah. Then maybe you'll end up doing like a 10, maybe 20-minute workout. Who knows? My point is trying to make it as easy and obvious as humanly possible. Number 2, habit stacking. In this scenario, instead of creating a habit out of thin air, you're basically going to associate a new habit to an already existing one. So what does that mean? So let's say you just wake up. Most people basically have the habit, like I said before, of brushing your teeth. And honestly, if you don't, you probably should. So what you want to do is basically associate a new habit that you want to create to the old one. So let's say your habit is brushing your teeth in the morning. And your new habit, or the one that you want to apply to, is to work out every single day. So what this means is that for now, like your cue is basically you wake up, you go to the bathroom, you brush your teeth, and you feel good about brushing your teeth, right? So right after you get that reward from the feeling good of brushing your teeth because your mouth is fresh, blah, 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 mint, it's great, you want to directly do, like your low workout, for example. So what your brain is going to do is that it's going to associate the prior habit to the new one. Because every time you brush your teeth, etc., that will then be your cue to the new habit. So then, let's say you brush your teeth. Okay, that's my trigger. Now what do I want to do? I want to work out. And then how will your body respond? It's going to adopt a sport-like behavior. And then you'll get dopamine from that. So what you can do is you can actually link them together. And you can do this like 2, 3, 4. It's crazy. Honestly, you can do however you want. So next time you want to, install like doing 50 push-ups in the morning or meditating, do it right after a habit that you know you will do no matter what. Like we all have these habits that are like rock solid, like taking a shower, brushing your teeth, jerking off, all these things that you know you're gonna do no matter what. Add a harder, basically, habit to it so that you kind of trick your brain into doing it. Try and associate them to like an easier habit. So then instead of doing a huge jump, you do like a pop, boom. You know what I mean? Like you do like a little habit and then the other one. But since you already did like half the way, it's easier to get into the flow. And basically what's even more interesting is that we already have like 1,000 habits that are automatically stacked in our brain together, but we don't really realize them. Like for example, the most cliche one, popcorn and movies. Like for me personally, every time I go to the movies, I'm like, yo, I need popcorn. You know what I mean? Or let's say you go for a run, right? You need that music. Let's say you just got home after a long day. You need toilet paper to jerk off. Same thing, like things that go hand in hand together. Having lunch and watching a YouTube video. There's literally a million. But what you can do is you can actually take this one step further, which is what is called the implementation principle. What this means is not only you're gonna stack a habit to a already existing one, you're actually gonna also choose a location and a time where you do it. Let me paint a picture for you. So let's say right after, I don't know, breakfast, you have that little morning coffee, you know what I mean? To get that little caffeine in, get that little kick. Feel me? So now what you're gonna do is, for the habit stacking, like you have that coffee, then let's say you read a book, right? But you're not gonna read a book anywhere. You're gonna read a book, I don't know, like specifically on this couch. So what's gonna happen is that your brain is gonna associate the location with that existing habit. So whenever like you have that coffee and you sit here, you automatically think, okay, where's my book? So basically what you wanna do is you wanna change the relationship that you have with objects in your house, or at least understand it. Like for me, for example, I know that the couch is a place that I can't work. Because either I'm on my phone, either I don't know, I'm talking with people, or I'm like watching a movie, or that type of thing. So, and I tried working there, bring a book, impossible. I cannot focus. Because my brain knows that I don't usually work here. So if I try and bring work in, it's like, you know, it's like two worlds collide, you know? It's a bit strange. So what you want to do is understand, okay, the couch, that's for chilling, having fun, blah, blah, blah. And I don't know, the desk, which makes more sense, is for working. But like only do these two things in their separate categories. Don't try and mix them up. Like a tip that actually I can give you is, let's say you're studying on your desk and you want to take a break, right? Which you're entitled to because you did a good job, bravo, excellent job. So what you want to do is, instead of taking that break on the desk, I don't know, going on your phone or reading a book, which is not really a break, but whatever. Don't do it, or I would recommend you not to do it, in the same place where you just work. Because what's going to happen is that your brain's going to be like, oh, wait, I thought we were working here. Now we're chilling here. So then it gets confused. So basically this way your brain knows, okay, that's the relaxing place. This is the working place. Because your brain is like a huge associating machine, constantly associating. Like, I don't know, if you think about like a perfume, right? Maybe your ex pops into mind. I hope not, that would suck. Or let's say you're watching a movie, then maybe you see an object and you think of that. Or even if you eat food, like you'll smell something and you'll be like, oh wow, this reminds me of my grandma's food that she used to make me. And then maybe you'll get emotional about it. I don't know, whatever. My point is that your brain is constantly associating smells, people, numbers, anything with events and memories. And this actually goes even deeper. So literally anything can be a cue. And this even applies to things like fears and anxiety. Like, okay, let's take social anxiety, for example, right? Let's actually dissect it the same way as I dissect the habit loop. Okay, so I hope you remember, because there's 4 parts, right? Cue, craving, response, and reward. So let's take the cue. So in the case of social anxiety, the cue would then be a social event, I don't know, a social interaction, somewhere where there's, I don't know, I guess a huge amount of people, right? So now that we have the trigger, which is then the social interaction, then we have the craving. And that's that sense of relief, that sense of comfort that your body will seek, usually when you're like faced with these, I guess, stressful situations. And then the third part, which is the response, which can of course also vary from people to people. So usually what happens is people tend to maybe avoid the social interaction, or maybe adopt like maybe more of a quiet behavior, or maybe they try to, I don't know, evade it in a sort of way to then reduce or make that anxiety completely disappear. And then the fourth part comes in, which is, it's almost poetic, as I say, is like the reward, which is then that dopamine hit that we get. But your issue is that this is a temporary sense of relief or a sense of satisfaction. Because what's going to happen is that now your basal ganglia will then associate this sense of relief to the cue, which means that every time that there will be social interaction, you respond in that certain way, which will be then evading the event or, I don't know, not going entirely. And that will give you a sense of relief. And then your brain will be, oh, okay, well, if I'm doing this and I'm getting dopamine for it, then that means it's good. So then do it again and again and again. And every time it reinforces it. This is why anxieties and fear are so hard to overcome, because they have been done so many times in the past, repeatedly. So then your brain will automatically perceive social event with anxiety. When you do to anxiety, you don't go, dopamine, boom. That means not going is good. And if you want to change or if you want to improve yourself, then that's not the way to go, because every time you do it over and over again, it's just going to reinforce itself and make it stronger and stronger and stronger. So the last principle, and might be the most important one, is to change your identity. So what does it mean? So I know I talked a lot about habits and behavior and actions, and all that is great. At the end of the day, if you don't change who you are for who you want to become, nothing will change. Because don't forget, the goal isn't simply to run is to become a runner. Like the goal isn't simply to study for a test, it's to become a student. Or the goal isn't simply to work out, it's to become an athlete. Because once it is a part of who you are, you won't need motivation anymore. Because you'll have something far more valuable. You'll have discipline. No matter if you had a shitty day at work, your friends yell at you, if you got in a fight, no matter what, you will do what you were supposed to do. You will go for that run. You will study for that test. No matter what. Because it's a part of who you are. Okay, so the last thing now that I want you to do, which I'm pretty sure 95% won't even think about doing it, but for those 5%, listen closely. So, I want you to grab a piece of paper, right, and write down on it the 2.0 version of you, the ultimate, whatever your name is, for the end of 2024. So it can be like, I don't know, a financial status that you want to reach, it can be a weight you want to reach, it can be, I don't know, a character trait you want to change, or a goal you want to achieve, or a material you want to have, whatever. Write it down in paper, ideally, which is better because there's more value to it. So now, from everything I said in this video about habits and behavior, you can now think of ways that you can implement these in your day-to-day life to reach this ultimate version of you. Why not give it a shot? What do you gotta lose? Okay, Infinity and Beyond, out.